Hey,
Hey,
how
how are
are
you?
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's so good to see you.
You too. You
We actually,
too.
talk.
What? I know. I know. Like, you're the one where, like, in my head, I'm like, oh, we're friends.
I know. Same, same. Especially when I found out you're in Warner Robins, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm originally from Milledgeville, and
Really?
but growing up, we would go to Warner Robins often to like go out to eat or
Okay.
to, like go look at cars and buy cars. So yeah,
Yes.
I'm very familiar with Warner Robins.
Yes. That's where I am now. But it's so good to, like, see you virtually.
The same thing. Okay, so let
Yeah.
me do the introduction.
Okay.
So Patience Riley, you are, like we said, based currently out of Warner Robins. You're a licensed professional counselor. You're also certified in perinatal mental health, and you are a registered certified yoga instructor.
Mm-hmm.
Currently serve on the Georgia Board for Postpartum Support International, and you've been doing long-term work with just the national mothership of perinatal support, not perinatal support, postpartum support international, the whole in common for quite a while, doing several trainings and education and all those things.
Yeah.
So welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited. So,
Oh, yes. Awesome. Now, first, tell me, how is it being out in Warner Robins? Because I know you've hopped around and lived in different places throughout.
yeah.
How is Warner Robins?
Yeah. Warner Robins is fine. It's quiet. It's quaint. So I live in a small little town, Perry,
Ah,
where the
the Perry
Georgia
Fair.
State Fair is.
Yeah.
Yep. Where the Georgia State Fair is. It's nice. It's quiet. It's quaint. We're enjoying it since we've been here. We moved during the pandemic. So we've been here for a little while now. But it's good. So like Keisha shared, my family and I, we move around. My husband is stationed at Robins Air Force Base, so we are a part of a military family. So I pulled that into the fold as well with Big PSI. I started out volunteering and I actually was leading our military mom support group. So that's how I kind of like jumped into all of the volunteerism, right? With PSI. And then I transitioned to leading our mindfulness group. And then I started our yoga for pregnant and postpartum parents about a year and a half ago. So we've been going about a year and a half strong with that group. I love it so much. So love it so much.
I mean, all that good stuff, which brings me to my first question. So, I think that a lot of times when we talk about perinatal mood and anxiety disorders and what that's like for any birthing parent, we don't often talk about the risk factors and,
Mhm.
how do people arrive at this place. And I can imagine for any military spouse that is a birthing person what that whole world is like. So obviously, like from your own personal life of being a spouse of someone who's in the Air Force, that kind of being your calling. But why do you think support for military birthing parents is so important? And what are some of the things that you feel as if they encounter?
Yeah, so I think it's huge because, like, as folks that work within the perinatal mental health space, we know that support can really change somebody's trajectory of feeling better ultimately. As military families, so in addition to being a part of a military family for my entire life, y'all, I also do work with military families. So I am kind of speaking in the nuanced part of like my self experience, but also that professional experience. And like Keisha was saying, one, there's these different factors that pop up that can make somebody a little bit more susceptible to perinatal mental health conditions. And when you add the military on there, we then have additional, what we like to say as providers, are risk factors. Um, and these are all the things that I think get masked underneath the pretty term of the military lifestyle is so unique. So when you hear anybody throw out that phrase and they start to list the things that come after that, essentially what they are naming for you are our additional risk factors. So moving around a lot. When you move around a lot, what happens? You get pulled away from support. You get pulled away from your community. One, your community of origin,
Right.
and then also the community that you have learned and you have built in your new space. So prior to us moving to Warner Robins, my family and I lived in Nebraska. So
Oh,
we were in, actually we were in Florida and then we were in Nebraska. I'm missing moves, but you get it.
yeah.
Um, so every time you move to a different spot, what happens? You have to find all of the things again. So
Mhm.
not only do you have to get connected to your general services, like medical services, dental services, who's going to do your eyebrows, who's going to do your hair, all of those things. Like you have to literally get reconnected to everything. You're starting from scratch. So moving around a lot, that has so many different layers.
Mhm.
You're being pulled from support and you are literally the new kid
Yeah.
all over again, over and over and over again. So that is one particular thing. Also, there's times where we are separated from our spouses. So it might be like, hey, but you know what? You're moving around with your love. And home is where your family is. Well, yeah, that's what we would like to think until my family is taken away from me because my family has to go support this country.
Right.
And so there are times where military families, I would say, mirror somewhat of like what a single parent may
Mhm.
mirror. And I like to say that we do a lot of solo parenting because we aren't in that same classification of single parents, even though I think when we solo parent, we have some of the same risk factors that they may end up having because you are parenting by yourself. Also, we have to think about it too. Our service members sometimes are the birthing person.
Mm.
So when you are the person who is also serving and you are taken away from your family, that's also a completely different world and experience too. So I think it's important for us, all military families is not just spouse
Right.
and service member who goes off. Sometimes the service member is the one who had the baby, who has to make decisions about work. Am I going to try to get pregnant and grow my family right now because I don't want my squadron or I don't want the rest of my airmen or soldiers to think that I'm not trying to pull my weight.
Right.
Is this going to get in the way of me getting promoted?
Mm.
Because I have to meet certain mile markers for my profession as well. So we have to think about that. Am I going to be able to breastfeed or chest feed if that's something that you're interested in? Where are the spaces for me to pump if that's the case? So, like things that we have to keep in mind also for our service members that are having babies.
Right.
And I think it's also so that being one particular instance as well for us to keep in mind when we're thinking about our service members, that time away. This could be longer times away, it could be shorter times away, that both the family and the service member are feeling being disconnected from their family. Also, those long work hours. What does my work entail? Am I even able to talk to my family about what that is? Are there dangerous work conditions that are happening because I'm a part of the military as well? And again, being support, I feel like is so, so huge. And when you're moving around often, sometimes you're also grieving
Yeah.
because you're grieving leaving like your family of origin, but then sometimes maybe you're also grieving leaving that new family and community that you created in that particular space.
Mm-hmm.
And in some places, maybe you weren't there that long. You didn't get as connected to the area. So you're like, you know what, I'm ready to start over. But there might be others where you really got embedded into the community and you got really embedded into your space and you don't want to leave. You don't want to start over. And so I think that is a really, really huge one, moving around, because moving around connects so much to support. And we know how helpful support can be for people getting better
Yeah,
during this time.
right. And I also think that, I mean, granted, I'm not in the military, have not experienced that life, but just like as an outside person, is a very unique career. You know, like it's not just like 9 to 5, commute home.
Hmm.
Like it's
Hmm.
like a lifestyle. And it doesn't
Hmm.
just impact the person who is employed, but like the entire family is impacted. And, you know, really taking into consideration of what you are signing up for and what
Hmm.
like, and even, you know, like we are talking about community, you could establish it, but then it's like going somewhere else and then having to find the resources again and looking up where to go and, you know, feeling motivated to want to do all of those things. Because it's in our generation already, we don't live in a village as our parents or our grandparents used to. So I can't
Hmm.
imagine, you know, what it's like to, you know, every 3 or a couple of years having to move and reestablish yourself and what that looks like.
Yeah, and you kind of were hinting at something else, and I'm happy you brought it up, is also with the military, it does extend from the person who's serving, and
Mhm.
it kind of infiltrates the family.
Mhm.
Stigma. Stigma is a huge thing. So one, I do feel like I felt like I was dating myself. I was talking to somebody like last week, and I said, "Hey, like when I first got into the field, I remember like nobody wanted to get help. So now it is nice to see people actually talking about mental health more. It is a little bit more visible, but there still is a huge stigma around receiving help and support for your mental health. One, as a parent, also as a military member.
Yeah.
And research and studies also show that spouses, so we're talking about those that are not in the military, worry about seeking help because they do not want that to get in the way of their partner advancing in their career. So
Mhm.
when you say it really extends onto the family,
Yeah.
it does. And that's what even some of our numbers show us as well. So stigma really gets in the way because when we think about the military, I have to be forward, service over self. Like I see that it's kind of interesting. My mom just hopped on here, but my mom told me before my mom was in the Navy. They told her we didn't issue a family in your sea bag. She
Oh,
was in the Navy. So when you are told those things, I did not give you your family.
yeah.
That already tells you the military is number one,
Yeah.
and your maybe your second, maybe
Right.
your family comes next. So you see how things kind of start to take order. And also, as families, I feel like that's something that we know that the military comes first. Whatever their decision is, whatever they decide, wherever they tell us we have to go, what has to happen as far as work, that is the first priority. I'm not the first priority. So,
Mm.
trying to support families to get help, to seek help, to know that they are deserving of help
Right.
is also something that I
Like,
like. That's why I love these conversations. Like, y'all are deserving of the help. You really do deserve it. And it's important for you to have, even though the culture that you live in may not talk about it in that type of way.
Mm. Absolutely. I mean, because I can see it's like rewiring your brain from how you were trained to be to make this, you know, function for it to like
Mhm.
work. And what is that like? Like, what is it whenever you do work with someone who finally does reach out for help? Like, how do you
Mhm.
recognize it, welcome it, and do like some psychoeducation around that?
Yeah. So, my first thing, regardless of who I'm meeting with, is meeting them where they're at, just wherever they are. Now, I have noticed with a lot of the military members that I end up working with, sometimes something happens.
Mm.
Hmm. Something happened, something took place, and it was like, hey, you probably should go talk to somebody. And that's how that could get open. But I also like to just commonize the fact of the same way that we take care of our physical health
Yeah.
is the same way that we should take care of our mental health. Our heads are attached to our bodies. And sometimes, like, I also use humor. Like, you see my head's on my head, my head's on my body, right? And they're like, yeah. Okay, so we should take care of our mental health. And my heart's in here, so I should take care of that as well. And I really try to commonize it of we brush our teeth every day. A lot of times we brush our teeth twice a day because we want to be healthy. We want to have healthy teeth, healthy gums, healthy tongue, all of that. So in the same way that we take care of our physical and our dental health, we should take care of our mental health. And that's just our emotional health, our emotional well-being. So I really try to commonize it as much as possible. And then depending on if it's a workshop or something and I'm talking to a larger crowd, I'll usually try to turn it back to the mission. When we are better in ourselves, then we can really put ourselves forward to complete the mission. So depending on that audience of who it is, but knowing that when we are well, the others that are around us are well, whether it's our family, whether it's our colleagues, whether it's our superiors, whether it's the workforce that we're in, when we are doing better, then everybody else will be doing better. And commonizing that it's also okay for you to see somebody when you're doing well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because I'm sure this happens to you all the time. You don't have to come to me when everything hits the fan.
Right.
Like that is I feel like as therapists, that's usually when we see people.
Yeah.
When things hit the fan. You don't have to see me then. I promise you, I'd love to see you before then. Like,
right. We see each other when things are going well and like how to maintain all of that good
how
stuff.
to maintain. So I also try to commonize that of like, hey, I work with some people that come to see me because things are going really well and they like for things to keep going that way. So there's no right or wrong time for you to come into my office or for us to chat. With military families, I do really kind of drive home that confidentiality part as well. I do that with clients in general, but I really try to drive it home. Just because I have had folks where I've worked on base and they've preferred to see me in private practice, even though they knew they could see me on base because of confidentiality purposes.
Right.
And so I get that.
Right.
Also, so I really try to drive home like confidentiality, confidentiality, confidentiality. I'm not going to tell you for sure. I'm not going to tell it, this is between us. And then I go through, of course, what are the breaches to that? But sometimes just not wanting anybody to know, people will prefer to see you off of base or say, hey, I want to self-pay. I just don't want any traces. And that's okay.
Right, right. And I'm glad that you said that because, along with that stigma, there's the myths that come with therapy. I don't know, like how many times I've heard people, I don't want to go to a therapist because I don't want that to follow me. Or I don't want a diagnosis to be in my record. As if it's like this file that we have and we like share it and anybody can like open it. And it is like a lot of education on confidentiality and how it works and what that means and
Yep.
has to be documented, what doesn't have to be documented, and when and how we see each other, because people do feel as if like once you walk into that office, then everybody can have access to what it is that you're saying or whatever the therapist thinks of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is huge because paper trail.
Right.
Paper trail. I worked as a military family life counselor. And one of the really neat things that I liked about that program, I loved that job.
I had thought about it.
It's
After I got
such
to grad school, they almost put me down to, it wasn't St. Simon's. I think it was like St. Mary's or
no, it might have been St. Simon's.
yeah.
It might have been yeah. Well, I mean, it's a great job. It is a wonderful job. No notes.
Yeah, I know. I remember that.
And so
like, really? Nothing? No,
and that's So when you say like psychoeducation, when I worked as an MFLAG, that's the kind of acronym for it. One of people would be like, "Is it really no notes?" And it's like, so I would be providing a lot of psychoeducation of like, yes, it is actually no notes. It's because it's non-medical counseling. So for us, it's like if you're dealing with things like adjustment, but you did have to have a licensed professional that is doing it because say you are dealing with something that maybe we're noticing some signs and symptoms that could be diagnosable, then we know that we need to refer you to someone else. However, it is a great way to get people's foot in the door and to also deal with kind of adjusting to some of these nuances. And when working as an MFLAT, a lot of people were dealing with things related to the relationships, lack of support, and becoming new parents as well. And those things, due to the unique risk factors and lifestyle that we have as a military family, as an MFLAG, I worked with a lot of those types of concerns. So educating on like, hey, there's really no notes because that paper trail honestly would make or break whether or not that person continued to see me. And when I really sat there and looked at them and said, there are absolutely no notes, no paper trail, that's why people would prefer to come, at least for the installation I was at, they preferred to come to the MFLAC versus go to mental health because mental health, there is a paper trail.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's, and because it's within that system, yes, it's like, hey, I might not be sharing this with your squadron commander, but just knowing that it was still within the military system,
Right.
I think is enough to have turned people off. So there are programs like the Military Family Life Counselor Program that offers up to 12 free sessions per issue. This is for children. This is also for adults. So if you're a military service member or a family member, this is something that's free and open to you. There's Military One Source. You can go onto them online. There are providers that provide free therapy sessions through Military One Source. It essentially works like an EAP program. So you would call, do like a 5-minute intake, and they would connect you with somebody in private practice in your area. And you can get up to like 12 free sessions with somebody as well. That's not connected to the base. It's not connected to the installation. Just think about it as an EAP. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. But it's not connected to your installation. And it's free. Who don't like free stuff?
No, I know. That's a great reason.
So,
now, okay. So with that's so like resourceful to know that about working with military families as well as the risk factors that they encounter, just in being able to navigate parenthood and all of those adjustments. Now, you also do body work and breath work and the calming of the nervous system. Tell me what got you into wanting to become certified in doing yoga and why is like breath work so important?
well, how much time do you have? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to keep you all here all day. I'm not going to keep you here all day. So doing breath work, mindfulness work has always been a part of my practice, but it has definitely grown just as I've even incorporated it more into my life. So I was always the therapist that was like, let's do grounding techniques, let's do mindfulness activities, let's try to connect with our bodies, connect to our breath. So I always like to say, how does that feel within your body? How does that feel within your system? Because a lot of my clients that I work with, they would have like those physical symptoms that would come up. And so one of our ways of managing that is, okay, how do we do something physical to also release that energy and get it out? But I got really more heavily involved with it after my own postpartum experiences. Yoga found me, is how I like to say it. I tried yoga 3 times just because I'm like, it's always something we recommend, so I need to give it a shot myself.
Because I know that you're like fit and you work out. Like, were you always like active even before yoga found? No.
No, no. So that's the short answer. No, 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 no. Yeah, no, that's something that I ended up bringing into life later. So a little bit before I had my kids. Um, your metabolism does not stay the same the older that you get, and so neither does the body. And so you got to kind of start doing some things that you never did before. So for me, it was actually actively working out was something that I had to do. I was at like my heaviest before I had my kids that I just had ever been throughout life. And I just wasn't feeling like myself. So I was like, you know what? I think I want to lose some weight. So
Mm.
I started actively working out and lost weight. And what happened when I lost weight? I got pregnant.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
Funny how that happens, you know? Um, but so that in itself, that kind of pulled me in onto my journey with that as well. But bringing it kind of back to the field of like yoga and how that got incorporated is, like I said, it ended up finding me when I was postpartum. It never really stuck when I actually did the physical practice of yoga beforehand. But after I was postpartum, I ended up going to a class and
Click.
it just clicked for me. It was the first time that my mind stopped because even if I wasn't actively moving, I like to talk to my clients about sometimes we need to be at physical rest, but there's other times where we need to have mental rest, where our minds need to stop moving and going. And that was the first time where my mind also stopped. It stopped going from all of the things that I was doing as a parent. And so I really got into my practice, like the physical practice. And I really wanted to be certified just to deepen my own practice. I
Yeah.
wasn't even really thinking about my clients at first. I just wanted to really deepen my own practice. And I got certified not even wanting to teach. I know, right? Right. So I just said, hey, I really want to know more about yoga philosophy and how I can pull this into my lifestyle and the spiritual work and everything outside of the movement parts of it. That's really why I wanted to get certified. And then I wanted to have a little bit more of an understanding of how that fit into the perinatal space. So the conception, the pregnancy, the postpartum, the loss, and how all of that comes in. And so I was like, well, let me get that certification as well. And I just loved it so much that I'm like, I have to share this with other people. And so everyone who I think has been in my classes and my cohorts with me, they all figured I would teach, even though I was like, nah, I'm not going to teach. I just want to deepen my own practice. But come towards the end, like I was still doing my 200 hour and I already had my perinatal certification. And um, my studio owner and mentor in Warner Robins, Rachel, she is just one of the best humans that I've ever met. She was like, hey, you start doing your class. So I started teaching. I teach a monthly yoga class for pregnant and postpartum parents at Homegrown Yoga. That's when, same month, I started it off with PSI. I teach a free PSI support group for pregnant and postpartum parents that's virtual. We offer it the first and the third Wednesdays at 11:30 a.m. Myself and another yoga instructor as well. So you can catch me there next week. You can catch me at Homegrown on Sunday at 2 p.m. I also teach a Friday class there every single week. I incorporate yoga now with my individual clients. So we will do like our talk therapy. And if they're interested, we will also do like a yoga flow afterwards. I always pull in like breath work and somatic work, just anyway. But if they also want to do like a flow, we'll do like a 30-minute flow after our class. And I do that virtually or in person. So I like to bring yoga to people in the comfort of their own home. You don't have to go to a studio. You don't have to have like that picture perfect thing because our physical practice is just one part of our practice. There's so many other things. So I think once it latched on to me when it did latch on
Mm.
and it stuck. So that's where I'm always like, yoga found me at the time that it needed to find me. I don't think I would have done it justice before if it would have
Yeah.
kind of stuck then. And it wouldn't have had the impact. So I love sharing and spreading it with everyone. So that's why I'm like, ooh, I could talk to you all day about it.
I mean, it's good. It's good when you do, what is the saying? Like when you do things that you're passionate about, that you feel like you don't even have to be compensated for. Like it's just so like natural, like you're really in your calling. Yeah. Which, okay, so brings me to my last question before we go into our rapid fire
Yeah.
question.
Ooh.
What, why do you feel like you are in your purpose? I'm assuming you are. You didn't necessarily.
Mm.
What is it about the perinatal space that really like speaks to you and keeps you motivated?
I stay really motivated, gosh, because I know how it feels to feel broken,
Mhm.
and I know how it feels to just need that extra support, care, and tending to in a different type of way. And I know we've talked a lot about support and being pulled away from your support systems and everything. And I have a wonderful and I have a beautiful support system that, unfortunately, they can't see the whites of my eyes all the time. Right. And so that's why I really like being that person that can offer some type of extension of support in the way that I'm able to do. So whether it's or not, it's you jumping on a support group or me speaking at an event or me being the therapist that's there or just offering and sharing resources or speaking through someone else. Like I also with this field, I think we do such a wonderful job of just wanting to help
Mm-hmm.
naturally. And so how I was able to be like, girl, I feel like we know each other. I feel like we're friends. Like I know that when I find out about your services, if there's folks I'm like, oh, I got somebody I can share that with. You're
Same.
like, hey, I got somebody I can share. Like
Yeah.
this type of field I think is filled with people that really just want to see like our clients, our parents get better because sometimes we know how it feels to not be supported, to feel broken, to feel like what is wrong with me? Why am I not doing well? That it gives that passion, that burn, that desire to develop community, to have them get better with whatever means it is. It doesn't necessarily have to be me. It can be other people as well. So I just really feel like I'm in that passion, in that purpose, because I want to get up and I want to do it all the time, maybe
Mm.
too much. Um, so that's kind of a long way of like, I feel like there's just so many reasons
No, I agree.
of wanting to do it, but I know how it feels to be broken. And so if I can use some of that to help patch someone up, help them patch themselves up because they are definitely capable, I'm just willing to extend my hand and help them do it.
Yes. And then I think that the client can feel that versus like
Hmm.
feeling just like another number or feeling as if
Yeah.
who doesn't relate to them or their experience. But when you are matched with someone who's culturally competent and who is educated in the expertise and that can meet them where they are and explain things in a normalized term, so
Hmm.
good work can be done. It,
Yeah.
like make an impact and change lives. And then they go out there and they change lives in which they encounter and it's
It's,
circle.
yep, all these little webs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So are you ready for your rapid fire questions?
Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. So I know that you've moved around a lot. Where are all the places that you've lived and which one is your favorite?
Okay, so I was born in Idaho, fun fact. I
What
know.
Idaho like scenic wise? I've heard
I,
like
I
beautiful
can't tell you anything about Idaho.
born there.
but I was born there, so but I can't tell you a single thing. Like baby me was, I'm sure I was looking around, but baby me can't tell you much. So I lived in Idaho. I lived in Washington State twice. Lived in Florida. Lived in South Carolina. Lived in Florida again. Lived in Nebraska. I've lived in Georgia twice. Gosh, I'm a hmm.
Was it South Georgia both times?
No, so I lived in Atlanta. I straight after graduating from college, I went to Clark Atlanta for my master's degree. And then I lived in Atlanta afterwards. And so I was a baby therapist in Georgia. So I was very excited when we got Georgia again because I was already licensed here and I didn't have to worry about trying to get licensed again.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect. Um, I almost feel like I saw my mom was on here. Put something in the chat if I missed a spot, but I think I got all the places. I think I got all the places. And yeah, I think I have all of our areas. So as a kid, oh, Virginia. I forgot about Virginia. I lived in Virginia as well. Um, I would say South Carolina kind of feels like home. That's where, like, my husband is from Charleston, South Carolina. I lived in Goose Creek, South Carolina, which is right outside of there. That's where I lived from seventh grade, and I went to college in South Carolina. Oh, my mom threw in California and Virginia. I thought I left off California, so thank you um, as well. But I feel like South Carolina, that was a lot of my formative years of like from seventh grade on to college, that's kind of when you're becoming who you are as a person. So I would list there. And then surprisingly enough, I really enjoyed Nebraska.
Really? What about Nebraska?
So what I enjoyed about Nebraska was not the cold,
Okay.
not the cold. I had a lot of community in Nebraska. I had a lot of community in Nebraska. Um, we were there with my husband's entire class, got stationed to Nebraska after he finished his training. So we had a really, really great community. I got really involved with my chapter, my Delta chapter there. I also had some really great coworker friends that I'm still connected with to now that I developed while we were there in Nebraska. Also, surprisingly, y'all, so we were in Bellevue, which is really close to Omaha, Nebraska. The food was good. Like we did not know what to expect. We had really good food places. We had a lot of drink places. So when I told you all that I became the heaviest that I had ever become in my life, it's because I was eating and drinking a lot of craft beers in Nebraska. So I I packed on the pounds because I was eating so much. However, it was so cold that I did not realize how just my everyday life in the South, I was a little bit more physically active just naturally because the weather conditions are just better.
Just get out.
Um, you can just get out more. So that was where you actually had to try, like you had to go to the gym. And I'm not a gym girly. I'm still not a gym girly. I am a workout girly these days. But so surprisingly enough, if I could take our community in Nebraska and pull it up, just lift it up and move it to where I am in Georgia, I would do that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite movie?
Five Heartbeats.
Oh, a house is not yeah. I love
Yes.
Heartbeats.
Five Heartbeats. It's been my favorite movie since I've been a kid, have never strayed away.
Is that Robert Townsend?
Yes.
That's,
Yep.
okay. Favorite music artist?
Oh, that changes. Let's see. Um, mm, so I'll say my favorite music artist for right now. who I've been into a lot because I get into phases. But so like growing up, I was like a Maya, Alicia Keys girl constantly. But right now, I just found this artist. I just found him. Maybe y'all haven't. Or you might have already been on him. Kamari, I think that's his name.
With a K.
Um, with a K, I'll send you some things. But he has this song called I Love Lucy. It pulled me in. He really gives me like Frank Ocean. I had a Frank Ocean kind of
Yeah.
moment when he was doing his thing. But it's kind of like a Frank Ocean, Daniel Caesars type of vibe to him. But he had this song called I Love Lucy. He has a song now called like Apollo. I think it's Apollo 16. I just found him, y'all. So I've just been trying to listen to all the things. I added him to my yoga playlist. Like, it's just, I've been, and I'll play a song on repeat. So I Love Lucy has been on like repeat. So I don't know if he's my favorite artist, but
Right now.
that's one of my favorite songs for right now. Snow Allegra was on repeat a little while. So like I have segments. He's my segment for now.
Okay, I love that.
Hmm.
What is your favorite throwback television show? So, like in the era of Martin, Living Single, Different World, New York Undercover, just that whole
So the first one that popped in my head was The Wonder Years.
oh, the Wonder Years.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, like my brother and I, gosh, we love The Wonder Years.
Did
Like,
you reboot?
the reboot?
Yeah.
I did not. I did not, but I think my mom was telling me I needed to watch the reboot. I think she watched it, but The Wonder Years, when I tell you that was our show. I also really like The Facts of Life.
Oh, the Facts of Life. Yeah.
Yeah, I like The Facts of Life as well. Um, yeah, I would say those would probably be my throwback shows.
That's a good one. That's a good one. And the reboot of Wonder Years, I think it's still on Hulu to be able to watch. I watched the first season of it. I did love Wonder Years when it was on with Fred
Mhm.
and Abby. Like watched all the way until they got older and him and Wendy and all that. Very reminiscent of
I
our
know. I know. I know. Okay, I'll have to give the reboot a try.
Yeah, I say it's definitely worth a try. Okay, last question. So, if you weren't doing mental health or healing work, what would you be doing?
Mm, I'm retired. Nothing. That's
Soft life.
soft life me all day. Retired.
Oh, yeah, same.
I would probably just be a retired person.
And just
So,
kind of just make your day be what it will be when you wake up.
yeah, I think so. Like, I don't have to, like, if I didn't, if money was not a concern or not an issue, I probably just would not work if I'm being honest, you guys. I have gotten to that space in life. My mom just retired, and I look at her and I say, I can't wait till I can retire.
Hey, yeah, yeah. I think about my own parents, like how they worked until they were 55, 60, like same job, like all throughout. And I'm like, oh my God. Or even, thinking like generationally, like grandparents and great grandparents, if they had like a factory job or worked at a hospital and they were there for like 35, 45 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because
I know.
I just want to chill.
Yeah, I think I would just want to be retired, or I would have to take it back to when I was a little kid and they said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I want to be an orange juice maker. That just seems so simple. I just, I just want to be an orange juice maker. And so like, I think about like little me and I just think the older I've gotten, I'm like, ooh, being retired or being an juice maker, that sounds like the life right now.
Right? I agree. Absolutely. You talk about your nervous system. Very, very
Exactly. So I say one of those.
okay. So, where can people find you? And do you
Mhm.
upcoming events? I know you listed like all of your mom said you listed like the classes that you have, but any events, any trainings, or anything coming up?
Oof. Okay. So yes, you all can find me. You can use my profile that's right here. If you want to get connected to me more, my website is listed up there. If you're interested in therapy services, you can find my information on there. I'm also a therapist through the Georgia Perinatal Action Fund, where folks receive free therapy. Keisha's a part of it. So if you're connected with her, you've heard all about that. I'm listed on there as well. So same places where you found her, you can find me. Um, Also, I offer individual therapy as well as yoga. You do not have to do therapy with me to do yoga with me. That's something that I offer virtually as just a service that's available to folks. In person is an option if you're in my local area, or virtual is also an option. I do teach weekly at Homegrown Yoga, our Warner Robins location. We do have social media presence as well. I teach there every Friday at 5:30 p.m. It is a $5 Friday flow class that is for beginners. You can always just come. If you want to sit in the back of the room and lay back in Shavasana and just lay there, you can. That's fine if that's what you need. I also teach a monthly class for pregnant and postpartum parents at Homegrown Yoga. My next class is on Sunday at 2 p.m., but we offer that on a monthly basis. I also do yoga for free with Postpartum Support International. That is the first and third Wednesdays of the month at 11:30 a.m. from the comfort of your own home, free. Just go on PSI's site for the support groups. You can sign up and do it there. I leave the third Wednesdays, but it'd be great if you joined Andrea on the first Wednesdays as well to get your yoga on with her. As far as any events, I can't think of any events that I have coming up because I want to keep it light in December. However, if you are looking to be trained with Postpartum Support International, I am a part of our training faculty, and we have a lot of trainings already listed on the PSI website for next year. All of our virtual trainings should be listed. The first one is the end of January. So if you want to get trained in perinatal mental health, like myself and Keisha and all these other wonderful providers, if you do birth work, you do not have to be a therapist, but you can sign up for those trainings. There's a possibility that you will see me pop up on one of them. That's virtually. And then we'll also be having those trainings that are coming in person as well. So please, please, please be on the lookout for that, or just click the link in my bio and you can get connected to all the things.
Such good stuff. Great. Well, thank you, Patience. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Thank you for your time. I'm so grateful to have had this opportunity to speak with you.
I am so excited. Thank you for bringing me on. This will not be our last actual combo. I have to meet up with you in Atlanta sometime.
Yes, we do. Oh, and I need to ask you how your trip was to Greece, right?
Oh,
Greece.
That's another thing. How much time do you have?
Yeah. I got to get all that info because those are gorgeous.
Yeah. So we'll set up like a coffee chat either virtually, or next time I'm in Atlanta, we just got to get together and all the stuff.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.